In the rugged northeast of Tasmania lies the small township of Derby. Just 5 years ago, Derby was little more than a small town with a petrol station that was used by people on their way to somewhere else. It was just another dot on the map where the visitors came and left.
Derby was almost dead 10 years ago, to be honest. I mean, it hasn't really thrived since the tin back in the 1920s, and when the town got wiped out when the Cascade Dam broke and flooded the town. Pretty much the town struggled ever since then, and it needed something to happen.
The future was looking grim for the small town. Fast forward to the present day, and Derby has a buzzing ambience to it, full of life with the promise of adventure. Tourism in the area has taken off, and there are grand plans for the future. All this forecasted tourism is due to a single sport that is growing in popularity all around the world. That sport is mountain biking. Mountain biking is a booming sport these days that continues to attract more and more people, including those rekindling their youthful interest in the sport. The proliferation of new tracks being created matched with bikes that have unimaginable amounts of technology to enhance everyone's experiences of the sport fuel the fire. World-class trails have recently been built in Derby. Over 70 kilometres of tracks have been painstakingly marked out through dense forest over years, then built with hand tools to produce world-class tracks that capture the imagination and appeal to the inner child inside us all.
So Derby's on the Tasman Highway, which is basically runs from Launceston right down the east coast to as far as Sorrel. So it's about an hour and a half out of Launceston if you're driving a Bale to speed limits, about 30 minutes out of Scottsdale, 40 minutes from St Helens. So yeah, pretty much right in the heart of the northeast.
A local business does shuttle runs up to the top of Derby's trademark trail, Atlas, several times a day. As any rider who has experienced the trail will tell you, it is the best way to cram as much awesomeness into the day as possible.
I'm Buck Gibson and I'm the owner of Vertigo Mountain Biking. Today we're heading up to Atlas. It's one of the hottest trails in Australia. It hasn't even been open for 1 year yet. Definitely the best trails in Australia, and the commentary we're getting from visiting riders, some of the best trails in the world. The potential's only just starting to be tapped into. My son wanted to get into mountain biking. I knew nothing about it. And my son wanted to get into it, so the story really started back then, and we just instantly recognised this. What an amazing, fun sport and huge potential, Tasmania. And then Blue Derby pops up, and this is the start of something pretty special, I reckon.
The trail park has a mapping style very similar to ski resorts around the globe. Green tracks being the easiest, blue being moderate, and black being the most difficult. Although due to the exceptional quality of the trails, there are tracks to accommodate all riders, no matter their skill level. The exhilarating trails of Derby are now on the bucket list of mountain bikers around the world, as the trail quality compares with the likes of Whistler, Colorado and Rotorua. And it's not hard to see why.
So I think that's the beauty of the easy trails at the bottom. You can, even as a beginner, get a rush, you can go hard and still feel safe because they're just well-built trails, and it's exciting. It's just really exciting. Just as a road bike, you don't get turns like that on the road. You can't experience that on the road. So to come on the mountain bike, completely different feel and just go on a completely different track. So it's just so exhilarating, such a rush.
Mountain biking has brought respite for the small town, showing a huge spike in visitors and real estate, resulting in benefits for the Dorset Council.
Just the value of property in Derby alone, like a couple of pubs that are up, that there at the moment, they're both sort of for sale at around $500,000. But if you went back 3 or 4 years ago, you'd have been lucky to get $150,000 for them. So, and houses are the same. Houses that were bringing $35,000, 4 or 5 years ago, are bringing a couple of $100,000 now for conversion to bed and breakfast and self-contained accommodation.
I made it to the bottom, only had one small off, which was caught on camera, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely the best trails in Australia.
Oh yeah, no, we'll be ready for it. We'll be right, yeah.
It was amazing. It was just fantastic.